Hyundai has been enjoying a very successful run in India with the launch of its N-Line brand. The saga started with the i20 and now we have the Venue N-Line with us. Yes, the car has been launched in two trims, that is N6 and N8. Each trim offers two variants, that makes it a total of 4 variants on offer, and the difference between the two variants in each trim is basically that the other one is the dual tone paint scheme option. And speaking of paint schemes, the Venue N-Line is available exclusively in 3 color options: Thunder Blue, Polar White and Shadow Grey. This color, Thunder Blue, is available exclusively as a dual tone option, whereas the other 2 colors are available as monotone options. Now at this point, I am quite certain that most of the viewers would be thinking that the N-Line treatment on the i20 and the Venue would be pretty much the same, would be along the same lines. Well, they're not wrong because the treatment is very similar, but it is not identical. Yes, the Venue N-Line differs from the i20 N-Line in terms of the features it offers, but there is one significant mechanical difference between these two N-Line models. And that is, the Venue N-Line is on sale exclusively with the 7-speed DCT gearbox, unlike the i20 N-Line, which offers both the DCT and an IMT option. Now, this is an interesting scenario because the 1-litre turbo variants of the standard Venue come with the same gearbox options, that is the IMT and the DCT. So today we are going to find out that if this decision by Hyundai to launch the Venue N-Line with only the DCT gearbox will really pay off in the long run, or will it harm the car's overall appeal? Now, another question about the Venue N-Line that comes to mind is that whether it justifies its price. It has been launched at a starting price of Rs 12.16 lakh and goes up to 13.3 lakh for the top spec N8 dual tone variant that you see here. These prices are ex-showroom, and for reference, the standard Venue's 1-litre lineup starts from Rs 10 lakh ex-showroom and goes up to 12.72. So if you compare the prices of the top variants of the standard model and the N-Line model, there's a difference of about Rs 60,000. So we're going to find out that what additional goodies do you get for that amount. And there's a third question as well that I'm going to be answering in my review today. I'm going to find out if the mechanical changes have really made a difference to the car's character. Now, for those viewers who are interested in finding out what are the differences between the N6 and N8 trims of the Venue N-Line, well, here's a look at all the features that the N6 trim does not offer. Compared to the N8 trim, the N6 does not offer the following: a burglar alarm, telematic switches, rear seat center armrest, dual camera dash recorder, side and curtain airbags, electrochromic inner rear view mirror, the reclining and 60/40 split rear seat, HD infotainment system, Bluelink connectivity, ambient sounds of nature, and a powered driver's seat. But before we actually do hop in and drive the Venue N-Line, let's quickly take a look at the car's styling. Now, as I said, the Venue N-Line is available in 3 exclusive paint shades, but that is not the only visual change that the car brings. In fact, the N-Line treatment brings along a number of new elements for the car. For example, at the front is this new grille. Although it looks quite similar to the standard model's grille, these elements on the N-Line model's grille are actually curved and they're actually shaped like wings. So that gives the overall fascia a very dynamic, a very angular look. And apart from that, the bumpers have also been redesigned to incorporate these 4 diffuser inserts. And you also see this red line running through the bumper. That is again a part of that N-Line treatment because the car does get a lot of red accents both outside and inside. We'll look at the inside ones a bit later, but for now let's focus at the exterior. Apart from the grille and the redesigned bumper, you move towards the side and you see that it gets new N-Line specific alloy wheels. Though the size is the same, they are 16-inch units as the standard model, but you do get a fresh design. And even though the alloys look nice, I realize that they will be very painful to clean because of this rather intricate spoke design. Apart from the wheels, you saw the N-Line badge at the front grille. There's also one at the front fender. And you see another red accent in the form of this door garnish running through the side. Now this again adds a lot of contrast to the overall look, makes it look sportier. And there's another red accent on the roof rail. So these were the changes that were on the side of the car. Now we move to the rear, and again you see a redesigned bumper that again has these silver fog diffuser inserts, a red accent running across, and the different thing on this bumper is that it gets these signature N-line twin exhaust outlets, which again look really sporty. There's another addition at the back, and that is this smart looking roof spoiler. So these are the key changes on the exterior of the Venue N-line. Now it's time to hop inside and take a look at the N-line treatment inside the cabin, and of course then we'll also talk about the mechanical changes that the N-line treatment brings along. Now inside the Venue N-line, what immediately catches your attention are these red accents that are peppered all around the cabin. You can see them on the seat, you can see the red in the seat stitching, you can see these elements in the air vents, you can see it on the gear selector as well as the stitching on the steering. And there are also that N logos present inside, for example here on the gear selector and on the steering wheel as well. Speaking of the steering wheel, this is not the wheel that you get in the standard Venue. In fact, this is the new N-line specific steering that the car gets, and we've seen this unit in the i20 N-line as well. And another big change inside the cabin compared to the standard Venue is that this version gets an all black color theme. Now those who have seen the new Venue will know that the standard model gets the two-tone greyish upholstery, whereas this comes with the all black color option because black is synonymous with sporty, with dynamic, and it's not wrong to believe that because the cabin looks really sporty. This combination of black and red is simply superb, and all these N logos present inside the car do remind you that you're in a special cockpit. Now in terms of features, the Venue N-line is not that very different from the standard model, but it does get one new, one unique and one very nifty feature, and that is this dual camera dash cam right here. Why dual camera? That's because there's one camera facing the cabin and there's one camera facing the windshield. So this camera can basically record the inside cockpit footage as well as the driving footage from the outside. So this camera is not only a nice recreational addition, but it's also a nice safety feature, an important safety feature, because it'll help you record the incidents happening inside the cabin as well as outside. Now that you're behind the wheel, it's time to walk you through all the mechanical changes that are there on the Venue N-line and assess that have they really made a difference to the car's overall character and how it behaves, how it drives. And I've brought this car to an especially twisty section of the road because this is, according to me, the proper place to test the dynamics and credentials of a car as sporty as the Venue N-line. So let's find out. So as far as the changes go, the powertrain has not been touched at all. The 1-litre turbo petrol as well as the 7-speed DCT remain in their standard setup, and as a result the powertrain continues to churn out 118 bhp and 172 Newton meters of torque. That is the same as the standard Venue 1-litre turbo model, and the updates are similar to the i20 N-line. For example, the Venue N-line also gets retuned suspension which has been made slightly stiffer. It gets a reworked steering as well that is claimed to be more direct, more precise. And of course, there's that brilliant exhaust note, that really throaty exhaust sound that is the signature element of any N-line model in India so far. So these are the changes that are there, and there's another important one on the Venue N-line, and that is that this car gets disc brakes on all four wheels. So I'm expecting a significant improvement in the car's stopping power as well. So pushing the car on these narrow and twisty roads, you really get the sense that the mechanical updates have worked their magic on the Venue N-line. That's because when you push the car a bit harder than usual, when you push it to its limits, that's when you realize that the steering really does feel more direct, more precise, and even though at lower speeds the steering feels pretty much the same as the standard car, at high speeds the steering really comes into its own and it offers such a beautiful, well-weighted feel that the car actually feels like a go-kart, which it ideally should. And as far as the retuned suspension goes, it's been retuned really well so that the car is stiffer than the standard model, but not so stiff that it really hampers the ride quality. So in that case, I really have to hand it to the Hyundai engineers for striking a really good balance between a stiffer setup and a setup that also caters to the Indian roads and continues to be fairly plush, fairly comfortable for its purpose. And as far as the disc brakes are concerned, well, the stopping power has really gone up, and when you do an emergency braking maneuver like you see here, the car stops in an instant, and it stops in a straight line without squirming around, and it stops in a straight line, meaning that it remains true to its path. So that means the brakes are really sorted, and the addition of the disc brakes at the rear really comes in handy. Now at this point, I'm sure you must be thinking that it's all hunky-dory, all good with the Venue N-Line, and there's really no fault with the car. But I'm afraid there are two things that have come to my attention. One is this DCT gearbox. Irrespective of the drive mode you're in, whether you're in Eco, Normal or Sport, when you're trying to maneuver through slow corners, that's when this DCT feels a little dim-witted, a little slow, and it really takes a noticeable amount of time, especially to downshift. So that really hampers the overall driving experience. And at that point, you really feel the car should have been equipped with a manual transmission or an IMT at the least, so that you would not have that slow gear change issue. Mind you, when I say slow gear change, I'm talking about the moment when the gearbox decides to change, but the changes themselves, because it's a DCT unit, are very quick and seamless. The other thing I noticed while driving the Venue N-Line is that it could have done with a lot more power. That's because due to the retuned steering, due to the retuned suspension, the addition of disc brakes at the rear, it feels like the car can take on much more. It is capable of handling a lot more power, but unfortunately, the N-Line treatment does not involve any changes to the power figure. It continues to produce the same amount of power as it does in the standard model. So that in my books is a bit of a letdown, because I know for sure that this car can handle a lot, and had Hyundai given the Venue N-Line more power, it would have been a truly sublime experience to drive it. But having said that, it does not mean that the Venue N-Line in its current form is not fun to drive. It is really fun to drive, and as I said, the simple mechanical tweaks to the steering and the suspension really do work their charm. And of course, you can hear a slight bit of that exhaust note as well, especially when you're under hard acceleration. So that really adds to the overall feel. So overall, the driving experience is pretty nice, it's pretty great, and despite becoming stiffer, the N-Line still remains a city-friendly car that you can use on a daily basis. So now that we have answered these important questions, what do we think of the Venue N-Line? What is our overall outlook on the car? Well, it certainly looks phenomenal. It looks great, especially in this thunder blue color. And the styling is not over the top. It actually works in the urban setting, and it looks really new age. And this is something that will really help Hyundai attract young customers for the Venue N-Line. And given the fact that the mechanical changes have really made the car better, and as I said in the beginning, that the N-Line version has really big shoes to fill because the standard Venue in itself is such a great car to drive, I am really happy to report that the Venue N-Line takes things up a notch. It dials everything up to 11, but you really need to push the car to experience that change, to experience that improvement. Apart from that, it's a winning formula nonetheless. So this was our review of the Hyundai Venue N-Line. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the autoX channel for all the latest updates from the Indian and global automotive industry. Until next time, this is me, Divyank Bansal, signing off. Take care and drive safe.